Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Fools Rush In STFC podcast. As always, I am Fifey and I am your host. And as you can see, we have an almost full house this week to discuss the common saying that men from Swindon are better at playing away than staying at home. Tonight, let's start in the order you appear on the screen. What are you doing already? For fuck's sake, not again.
I can't. What was with that? Hi, I'm Fifey and I'm your host.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Every week you moan at me for not doing this. I actually do it this week, and you're laughing.
Either way, it's funny. Fifey, so it's comedy gold.
It's descended into chaos again. After last week, I was hoping this one was going to be so much better.
Professional outfit.
If you just tune in after watching the Vic Morgan and the official supporters club, you're in for a shock. Sorry, Frankie.
Right, can we at least go through the introductions Can we please do the introductions before you lot start pissing around? Ned, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
And Woody, you looking nice and comfortable?
I am. I'm in my bed instead of my desk this time, so I'm treating this seriously now.
And Ben, no more external podcast appearances for you since last week.
You have my total undivided attention today, Stephen.
Excellent. Rich, how are you, pal?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Kieran's made it back. He's been missing the last 2 or 3 episodes, but he's back.
I missed one, mate. I only missed a lot on last Thursday.
It feels like you've missed a lot more than one.
No, I only missed Thursday. But anyway, I'm Kieran and I'm here. And I'm not your host.
24 from Glasgow. Like long walks on the beach and occasional pizza.
I'm gonna go back and watch the one last Monday and prove to you.
And don't forget, loves a late night TikTok. And finally, last but certainly not least, Craig's back with us as well. How are you, pal?
Yeah, I'm good, Fifey.
Good. Glad to have you all with me this evening. Let's start with the weekend's game then. Another home game, not won. Ned, first on the screen.
It's got to be Rich. Rich has got to go first. He's always first. Don't change it up now. Don't break the format.
It's going well so far, Fifey, isn't it?
You know what? Fuck it, we're starting again.
It's like everyone's telling you what to do at the moment.
This is my fucking podcast. Fuck off, all of you. Ned.
Okay.
Don't get his treatment in the EFL 72. I'll tell you that now.
Ned, what was your overriding emotion at the end when, obviously the defeat, another home defeat?
Oh, well, I predicted 4-0 victory, so you can imagine my utmost shock. No, it was pretty rubbish, wasn't it? What can you say? I mean, Bradford did what they had to do to win the game, and we didn't do what we had to do to win the game. I think we was largely ineffective in all areas. No one had a particularly good game. I mean, it was just shocking. And after all the positives that I spewed out of the last episode,
I mean, we did get one comment. There was one comment that stands out. It was from a Bradford fan who'd watched it, and he commented on it saying, your comment that they are a team shit both home and away was a fair reflection. That sums everything up, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, on paper they are tripe, but we just played worse. I mean, what can you say? We had a lot of the ball. We didn't create many shots. Was it 30 odd minutes before we had our first shot, or something ridiculous like that? Oh, I don't know. I mean, it was just a very shoddy performance, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of some positives. I think a lot of people have gone big time hard on Tyrese Simpson, but we need to remember that he's only a young lad. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Well, sorry. You decide who's speaking next.
Well, I think in the WhatsApp group, Ben's I think he used the same sentence 2 or 3 times, just saying "not in the mood" pretty much summed everything up, didn't it?
No, it was rubbish. I wasn't there, luckily, so I would have been really cross because I was quite cross after Rochdale. But I can only pick up of like the aftermath of what people have said and what I've read about the game. And I think our Tinkerman Ben Garner tinkered a bit too much, and he changed formation and he changed the squad, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. I don't know why he tinkered. He probably tinkered supposedly to match Bradford, and Bradford tinkered to match us, and they's worked better than us. But at the end of the day, I don't think we didn't play well enough. Bradford took their chances. We didn't at the end of the day. And having 75% possession of the ball, not doing a lot with it, it's pretty bad. So, yeah, it's not good. It will get bad. We could go to Oldham, win 3-0 and win the league again. But which is almost certainly going to happen. But, you're only as good as the last performance, and the last performance was rubbish.
Let's not jump ahead of Ned's report of how well we'll do against Oldham. Woody, tactically, was there, Ned was struggling to find any positives. Was there any positives you could see?
To be honest, no. I think the annoying thing is there was so many underperformers for me. It's sometimes you can just accept to lose in a game because you haven't been good enough. But it seems for me, the tactical point's a good one because you look at, I still don't understand in games like that why players like Gladwin stay on, because I really couldn't work out what role he was actually playing. He has moments of magic and things like that, but I couldn't work out what role he was actually playing on the day, and I don't know if that's due to how Garner's telling him to play or whether that's just Gladwin's understanding of, I guess, playing the 8 role as opposed to the 10 role. But it just wasn't good enough. To be fair, I was there with my under-16s because we got tickets for that game. And it was, I'll tell you what, they were the ones that were stopping me from swearing and blind because I was I thought it was just a really poor performance. You can't look at a game and we had like 70% possession. We completed 3 times as many passes as them, and we only had half the amount of shots. It just doesn't make sense. And it brings back to that old cliche of it's not about having all the possession, it's what you do with it. But in any other format, if you've got 72% possession, you should be winning games. That 28% should be them kicking off. It's it just wasn't good enough. I don't think Bradford were that great either there, if I'm brutally honest. I don't think they were that particularly good. I knew Theo Robinson would score. He was always.
I think you said actually on the episode he would score.
He was always going to score when he came on. But yeah, it just from front to back, from back to front even, it just wasn't good enough. This is really strange because I never thought I'd say it because I do rate him, but not to a point where I think we miss him. I genuinely think we do miss Conroy when he's not playing, because it just seems that although he's maybe not technically the best defensive player, but he seems to control the defense a lot better. And I think Critchlow misses him when he's in there as well, because there's no coincidence that Critchlow's probably had 2 or 3 of his worst games for us, and he's not had Conroy beside him for 2 of them. So it's it was just a poor performance. But we've got the one thing that I'm worried about more than anything is the fact that we could win our away games and we could lose or draw our home games, but the problem is we're relying on income at the moment, and that 9,500 figure is going to go down and down and down if we don't start performing at home and winning at home. We scored the penalty. I didn't even cheer when we scored the penalty because I knew it wasn't going to matter. It's a shame. It's a shame after such a high from last week. But that's Swindon, isn't it?
And Kieran, if you can avoid disappearing into your own background photo for long enough to answer the question, I know you've been very vocal again in the WhatsApp group and on the last episode. You did appear on about sorting out this home form and training on the pitch and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we need to do something. I think training on the pitch has got to be the best. It's one of the things we've never done as a club. We've never really trained on that pitch. I know they said the groundsman doesn't want to and stuff, but fuck what the groundsman says. Like, it's a football pitch at the end of it. I don't care if it cuts it up at this point. As long as we can play, always be able to play on it and get games on it. Okay, there might be the other one called off because of waterlogged pitches, but they need to learn the pitch because we've only had this year, and none of this squad has played on the pitch. I don't think. In a home, I think we had one home pre-season friendly, so none of them have really played on this pitch a lot. This is the 7th home game that they've played on. So it's still not a great deal amount of games, but also, you need a training pitch that's a similar sort of size because the county ground, as you say, is a big pitch. It's big, and I think we're doing well on typically smaller pitches like your Suttons, your Forest Green Rovers, these sort of more compact pitches. But I think we need to do something. Actually, say if we've got a good home intensity, we've got 9,000 again this week. We've had 8,000 above 8,000 every home game this season. If we don't sort it out, we're going to go back down, sort of slowly back down to sort of 6,000, which is what we normally have. And you wonder why. And I think it's because we're shit at home. But yeah, so it needs to be done to sort it out because it'll be one thing that hinders us this season, I think, is if we don't sort of, if we go on a bad away run as well, and that home form's in the back of our mind, then we're going to struggle. But I remember we tried it under Flitcroft, we had we had a terrible home record with him, and he tried, I think for Luton at home, he tried treating it like an away game. We stayed in the hotel the night before, we'd gone and switched ends and stuff, made it look like an away game and shooting off. We lost 5-0.
And Rich, obviously, taking into account everything the guys have said already in terms of Bradford perhaps weren't that great to be walking out such convincing winners, etc. From what you saw, again, was it just a bad day at the office?
I think it just proves that possession doesn't win games. I think it's easy to go in with a game plan, but I agree with Woody. I think Conroy was a significant part, or he has been a significant part into that game. I think we were missing some leadership at the back. We had a young defence as it was, so obviously you had Odemeo, who personally I've definitely criticised over the last couple of weeks. I just think his attitude's all wrong. Crinchlow, he had a awful game on Saturday. Frenchie hasn't played enough, so I just think, and I know it's an excuse because I know we beat Sutton 2-1 and we defended very, very well in that game, but again, it's a defense that hasn't played a lot, and when you've got players that aren't playing a lot, like Frenchie, who is very, very injury prone as well, it does start to get to you. And then he changes the defense at halftime, and it doesn't make it any better. In fact, I think, we conceded 2 goals in the first half, didn't we? But we still conceded in the second half, and it didn't push us forward. It just kept us having the ball, which is hence why we had the 75% possession. And like the guys have said, it didn't work. Something didn't click. Something didn't work, and it is down to Garner on that one. I didn't think the substitutions were the best substitutions either. And I think we're getting to a point now where maybe bring Grant back into the fold. I just not to add to our possession, because that's not what we need right now, but it just gives us that solid, especially when we've not got somebody like Conroy playing, it gives that extra bit of experience, especially a player who's been playing internationally as well. Whereas, like I said, Frenchie, he's not had much game time at Swindon, so I think that is where it's coming to the inexperience of a manager. I'm not saying Garner's not an experienced coach, because he is. He's been coaching for the last 15, 16 years. But I think from a manager's perspective, and especially manager's perspective of a football league club, I think that's where the inexperience came from there. And I think I think that's a call he messed up on that one.
I also, sorry, just speaking on the point about Grant as well. Obviously we all want to see Grant back in. We probably all understand the reasons why he's not in at the moment, but I guess one of the positives I did take out of Saturday was probably Louis Reed's performance, and I do wonder about whether bringing Grant in would free him up a little bit, to maybe play in that role that Gladwin was, well, what Gladwin looked to be playing on Saturday as well. I just wonder whether, because that was, I said there was not many positives, but I have to admit, I think Louis Reed did play particularly well as well.
I think he's been the most consistent. He's definitely been the most consistent out the last 9 games. I know the first 3 games he was a little bit on edge, like sort of thing like that, but he really came into his own. I think the Salford away game, and then ever since from there, he's just been by far our best player.
And sorry, Ben, carry on.
I was going to say, if you bring Grant back, I think we go back to the sort of 4-2-3-1. But I think that kind of worked at the start of the season. We looked all right then. I think even the performances at home, we were unlucky not to beat Tranmere. We created enough to beat Carlisle. And I think it works. It gives Reed the opportunity to bomb on forward a little bit. And then you've got 3 players that could potentially be number 10s, which are perfect in like your McCurdy's and your Williams and Payne and co. And I think that's more suits Payne than the role he's got at the minute. So I'm all up for going back to 4-2-3-1.
That was one thing that really, really annoyed me. Now, I don't know whether or not he did have an injury or not. He certainly didn't look like he had an injury. But what the fuck was he doing bringing Johnny Williams off? When we needed a goal, and unless he comes out during the week and says he was injured or he had a shoulder injury, I still think it's a bit bullshit. But he didn't look phased. He didn't look like he wanted to come off. So I'm not exactly sure what went through his head there. And I think every single person in the stand was like, what is he doing? I have no idea what brought him off.
And sorry, Rich, just before I hand a question over to Craig as well, just a word on Bradford themselves. I mean, what did you make of their performance when you consider everything, for example, that Ned had said in our last video? And I mean, one of the goals, for example, it was a good finish, particularly.
Oh, yeah, Robinson.
Were they better than we thought, or were we just bad?
No, I just think we were bad.
Okay.
I think on another day we would have beaten them.
Okay. Craig, if I can turn attention to the aftermath of the defeat and a video that surfaced, which I described to a Bradford fan I know as simply embarrassing, of the couple of kids chasing the fans coach. What was your thoughts when you saw that?
Rolled my eyes just like you did there, mate. It was I mean, this you get it at every football club. You get fans like that. Swindon's a no special, but obviously with social media, it does look bloody embarrassing. And these kids are about 16, 17 probably, had a few too much to drink, got their beer muscles on, think they can take the world on, and it just look ridiculous. But not to excuse it, but every club has those sorts of fans. It's a minority. It's not a reflection of the club, and it's not a reflection of the fan base. So even like the old school sort of hardcore hooligans would have been cringing at that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just it's more funny than anything, to be honest with you. I think that's my thoughts on it.
And on a slightly more serious discussion point, similar to Ben, I tend to read a lot of what different people are putting on Twitter and different reactions, and one that seems to have split the fan base a little bit is this question of and I know we've discussed it on here before, where do we draw the line on we should just be happy we've still got a team to support? I mean, we've spoken about this a few times, and I think we're past that now, personally.
Well, the way I see it, Steve, is that this football squad have had quite a good honeymoon period where it comes to the goodwill of our fan base. I don't think any squad has had so much goodwill from our fans as what this one has. And we're getting into November now. I think it's very fair to turn around and say, yeah, we were shit on Saturday. Yeah, they deserve the criticism. That doesn't mean we don't appreciate where we were a few months ago. We've all been talking about this for, we know, every single football fan knows how close we were to going out of business. That doesn't mean we don't appreciate where we are now. Of course we fucking do. But I mean, these sorts of people who say, oh yeah, don't criticize and all this, they're the type of people who want like a non-competitive activities day instead of a fucking sports day at school, absolute twats like that. So, You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Just because you're criticising one performance, and it's only one performance, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. If this had happened like back in August, yeah, fair enough. I could understand that. But we're getting into November now. Every fan's entitled to their view. So, you know, and that's all fans were doing. I don't think it was over the top, the criticism. We were shit. I don't think there was one player who played well on Saturday. Our only threat was from Williams, and then like Rich was saying, Garner subbed him for some strange reason. But yeah, the players deserved the criticism. They deserved the boos at half time, and Garner deserves the criticism. But we'll move on, and hopefully we'll get an away win on Saturday.
Can I just say that was a real Jeff Stelling moment right there?
Well, I've been compared to a lot of people over the years, Rich, but never Jeff Stelling. So thank you. I doff my cap to you. Thanks.
Love the passion. Loved it.
Non-competitive sports day got me.
Yeah, well, you know the types, don't you?
You mean the textbook participation awards, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the people I'm talking about. So yeah,
that's what got me through school.
In the interest of offering up fairness and balance on that discussion, is anyone on the panel tonight still on the we should be everyone should be grateful we still have a club, or are we all in agreement we're kind of past that moment?
Not for an excuse to lose it.
Yeah,
not for an excuse. If this was like Craig said, if this was September, October time, you could probably know. Yeah,
well, technically it is October.
September time.
I tell you what, I think it's something that we can reflect on at the end of the season now. And I think when we get to the end of the season, when we do this pod at the end of the season or something like that, we can say wherever we are in the league, we can say, oh well, 12 months ago or less than 12 months ago, we were going out of business, and where we are today during the season.
And the thing is,
let's go on with the games. You know, the games are in front of us. We've got a team. We've got a fully fit team. Let's go.
And at the end of the day, like, with all due respect, they're still earning a wage. We're still paying money. You know, it's not like these players are playing for free now. You know, it's a case of, like, at the end of the day, if we're effectively paying their wages, we have the right to criticize. So I don't buy in. Oh, we should be lucky we've got a club. We are lucky we've got a club. That's correct. But all this bull crap about let's celebrate a loss because we should be lucky we still got a club. Bollocks. We were shit on Saturday when we were good last Saturday. So what do we say when we're good? If we're going to praise when we've lost, it's silly.
The two aren't mutually exclusive. You can criticise your team and be grateful that you've got a team at the same time at the end of the day.
Yeah,
I agree. It looks like Christian has been able to join us. How are you, pal?
Mute.
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well. You've joined at a good time, actually, because I'm just going to dip into the Fools Rushing mailbag, because we had a couple of comments come in about the game, and I wondered your thoughts on this one that came in from @Howler50, where he just put, whilst Garner still thinks it's a coincidence our home form is so poor compared to our away form, we compare exactly the same way, it's worrying he doesn't recognise that teams come to our place and play differently than they would if they were at home. Would you agree?
Yeah, he has made a fair point, because he has made comments, hasn't he, saying that I think something like a 2 point per game average, and he goes on about, you know, what we're doing away from home and we're picking up points away from home. He doesn't see the difference between home and away, and it's a little bit like the Luke Williams 3 draws as a win kind of thing, you know, where, you know, oh, it's all right that we're not winning at home because we're doing well away, but if we were doing like we're playing away at home as well, we'd be out of sight now. We'd be above Forest Green. So he needs to recognise that. He needs a plan B, because he's not adjusting the formation, the tactics, the shape at home to counteract the way that an away team are going to come and play.
And Woody, if I can bring you in on a follow-up comment that was made on this thread, that says, I'm convinced the FA's modern coaching on the progressive possession game leaves many young managers and coaches with large blind spots responding to opposition tactics, as well as a lack of focus on the basics of robust defending and creating goal-scoring opportunities.
Bloody hell, did they have enough characters in that tweet? Jesus. I'm one that's been pretty critical of the way the FA do deliver their coaching courses in the past, but I don't. The grassroots game is completely different to the professional game. There's so much more resource available, and we got to remember that 90% of coaches in the probably more than that in the professional game are ex-players anyway. Mm-hmm. Whereas most grassroots coaches probably only turned out for their Sunday league team. It's so I think they make a good point in terms of, is it developing blind spots? No, not really, because it depends on the type of coach you are. Like I would say that most of my teams do play progressive passing football, but equally we know how to finish it off. So it's it really depends sometimes on the personnel you've got as well. But I get the point, but I don't think it's massively relevant to Ghana or to Swindon.
We do always appreciate everyone's feedback, whether Facebook, Twitter, YouTube comments. So please keep sending them in, whether it's insightful discussion points like that, or simply comments like this one, which simply asks whether, as a pod, if I just bring it up, any chance we can get the lads on the show who ran the Bradford bus out of town.
Wrong.
All comments very much welcome. Normally, I would hand over to Mr. Wood now for a fancy Premier League update, but young Kieran has asked if he could take this one this week. So please, Woody switched off. Kieran, all yours.
Well, it's been a very interesting week in the old fancy Premier League, and we're going to go from the bottom up, and Christian's going to go to sleep while he's in the pub. So, at the bottom, being the strongest team in the league, is once again Mr. Gary Johnson.
One show.
One show. It turns out he pays as much attention to his fantasy Premier League as he does coming on this show. Second, and despite having a good week with 69 points and thinking he's going to fucking storm the league, is powerhouse Ned's 11. Third from bottom and just sort of chilling out there, just happy with his non-competitiveness, is your host, Fifey. Luke Williams is Fat's doppelganger, 3 draws for a win, and Ben Nichols is sitting in 5th place.
Hey.
And Warren is sitting in the Champions League spaces in 4th. He has 66 points this week. The biggest mover of the week, though, is Adam Wood. Slipping from his very clear out in front 1st place, he's moved all the way down to 3rd with a massive 25 points. It's nearly
25. I thought it was 25.
Did you get 25?
With fucking Jamie Vardy as captain for you. He's now been popular and put the most salary in. In 2nd place with 83 points for the week is Rich, and top of the league is it's me, isn't it? Back to his rightful position. But I think Woody did have quite a big lead at one point after his bench boost, but it turns out it's all for fucking nothing.
Woody, what do you have to say about Kieran's representation of our fancy Premier League there?
Fucking shit. He did it better than me, to be fair, but he's excited, innit? I got bored of it.
Got bored of being at the top.
I got bored of presenting it every week. So yeah, you wait. I've now joined the Mo Salah cabin crew, so I'm going to be storming it now. I'm all over it now. You watch. You have a look at my team. Wild card played this week. I am. Oh, I'll tell you what. That 34-point gap or whatever it is you've got, I'm going to make up for that this week. You watch.
And just while we're on the subject of Premier League, did everyone get to see the wonderful video after Man United's? Well, I suppose you could call it a performance of some description against Liverpool. The young Man United YouTuber, whose name escapes me for the minute, who decided to say, if that's playing for the manager, they might as well go and play for Swindon.
Yeah.
Seen that. Yeah. Goldbridge, isn't it?
That's it. Goldbridge. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Ben.
Joker.
Absolute
They
joke.
they gave us fucking Matty Kovar, and they have the bollocks to say that.
I think we'll take the lad that plays number 7. We'll take him. The rest will fuck off.
And do you think he'd
Number
finish in the
7
Swindon
overrated.
team?
Pardon?
Do you think Man United's current number 7 would score goals in the current Swindon team?
Good point, actually. Yeah, he probably wouldn't see the fucking ball.
Woody, it's that time again for you to promote what should be a good occasion next week.
I don't know why, but I automatically look at Christian's camera every time we get to that point. Obviously Sunday, I think the club are starting to tweet out now as well. So obviously Sunday's the big occasion, first time in 2 years that the women's first team have played at the county ground. I believe they announced it today as well, that it's, if you're a season ticket holder or a supporters club member, it's free entry as well. So
They could have told me that last week before I bought a bloody ticket.
yeah, but Rich, they probably would have charged you double, to be fair. But yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, I appreciate people's opinions on women's football, genuinely do. But you know, if you're not doing anything on the Sunday, just pop along and cheer us on, because it's going to be a difficult game. Exeter are a decent side, so you know, it's they could do with all the support they can get, really.
And did you say before we came on the record they had a game last weekend as well?
Yeah, they won against Longwell Green in the FA Cup 8-0, I think, and they've been drawn against Southampton in the next round. That came out today. So Southampton, who have ploughed a lot of money into their setup at the moment.
Did we not discuss this before, or was that Bournemouth?
Possibly Bournemouth before. Bournemouth was the first game of the season.
Yeah, okay. No, I knew it was one of them. I remembered you complaining about one of the teams down there ploughing in lots of money.
Yeah, well, Bournemouth's a different situation, but Southampton have, I mean, I think they were putting 7 figures into their team, and they've got ex-England professionals in their setup as well. So in terms of their coaching setup, so I mean, fair play. It's good to see, obviously, that you know, the main clubs are ploughing money in, but the Southampton arguments, it's one for another day, but because there's a lot of Southampton teams, and Southampton FC, the one that we all know, is not really the original women's team down there. So it's a bit of a sticky subject in women's football. But no, it'll be, you know, hopefully it'll be a good occasion. It's, for me, it's, you know, the ladies are going to enjoy it regardless. You know, so it's going to be good. I'm hoping to get on and I'm hoping to help out on the day as well, as long as the other half doesn't go into labour. But it'll be a good occasion, and hopefully just a sign of, you know, more community feel to come from the club, more importantly.
Can I just say it'd be really good if they did get a big crowd, because Exeter, I don't know if anybody saw that they tweeted, I think it was last week or something.
Yeah, they had about 1,000, over 1,000.
Over 1,000 at one of their games. So it'd be brilliant if we could.
It was Exeter Plymouth, though, to be fair.
For fear of what's about to come, Christian seems to want to get involved in the discussion.
No, you might be surprised to hear. I'm also going to say that, you know, the Swindon public should come out and back this. Really, women's football is massive growing sport. It's taken off like no man's business over the past few years. Is it a World Cup or something year next year or something like that?
Yes.
Well, yeah. So there's going to be a lot more focus on the game, and you know, I think we should really be aiming for these games to get a bigger crowd, and it's an achievable target, a bigger crowd than these checker trade fucking trophy games, you know, that the men's team play in. I mean, I'm thinking, I think it's a great, you know, it's Sunday afternoon, get down to the county ground. I'm thinking as well, it's a good game for me to test. If you've got young children, you don't know what they're going to be like in a football environment, football atmosphere. I'm thinking about taking my 3-year-old along just to see how he gets on before I take him to a men's game. But let's get behind folks. I take the piss all the time, you know, and I'm only joking. You know what I'm like, but I think really it's going to be the women's game is going to be a huge growth sport, especially with the World Cup coming. Let's all fucking get behind it. Get down the county ground on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, the supporters club are doing stuff for the kids as well beforehand, and all that kind of stuff. So, Chris, I mean, fair play. That's a good point about, potential opportunity to bring the Litlands around. But the other point I was just thinking of when you said that about getting behind it is because all of those ladies playing they're all local girls. They're all Swindon, based, maybe Wiltshire to a certain extent. So they're all local as well. So it's,
that's probably why we're in the fourth. That's probably why we're in the fourth tier or whatever. Get rid of them and get some good players in. But
when Clem starts getting his money, his hand in his pocket, and we can start getting the England internationals down here.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I've got some videos of England. I'll send them to you later.
Oh no. Let's move on and let's talk about our next game, and that means we get to bring in the Ned Report.
Oh, lovely stuff. Just want to raise two things. Thank you. Just want to raise two things first. One, in the last game, what the fuck is Gladwin doing on the left and Williams doing on the right? Did anyone else notice that at all? Gladwin was on the left-hand side and Williams was playing on the right-hand side. That's the first time I've seen that this season, and it definitely didn't fucking work. Don't try that again, please, because that was absolute rubbish. Also, don't let Blooming Kieran have a wonderful time just because he played fucking Salah as captain. Did nothing else in that fantasy team. Nothing else. Unbelievable.
Cresswell as well, and Kovac,
Oh, when the player scored more than 4. Well done. Bloody hell.
Well, you should just captain the Mount and you'd have been all right. But no, you went to Bamiyang instead.
Well, there we go. Oh my God, so furious.
Do you know what aside from, again, similar to Craig earlier, aside from the raw passion in your rant there, Ned, what I appreciate is you've waited a solid 10 minutes to get that out as well.
Fair play.
It's building up. It's got more rage. It's fucking...
I started to calm down and it built up again.
Anyway.
Christian.
See that fist just over your shoulder, Kieran?
What,
yeah, that's what you're going to get. Right, anyway, so Oldham, another team who are clearly better playing away from home than at home. They've, so far this season, they've scored 10 goals and they conceded 19. So their last home game was a 3-1 loss to Walsall. However, 4 of the last 6 games have been clean sheets. So what I clearly expect is, ultimate shithousing and them not really going to be sort of putting any attacking prowess on us. Because apparently, according to all the Oldham fans, I was looking at some of their forums and stuff, and they they are not hot on any of their players at the moment. Even Dylan Bambula, who's their sweetheart, shall we say. Even they've been saying that he's been playing shit recently. Hallam Hope, oh my God, they hate him. They absolutely hate Hallam Hope. And
I was quite like Hallam Hope.
I didn't mind Hallam Hope. I thought he was all right.
Yeah, he was all right. But they say he doesn't take it around anyone. He couldn't score to save his life. He's got 1 goal this season, by the way. But also in the older players market, you've got Alan Sheehan and Nicky Adams.
How is he not retired yet? I thought he was like about 50.
They're both 35, 5 years younger than me, I must add. Nicky Adams is one that worries me because regardless of which team he's played for, whether it be Rochdale or whether it's been Charlton, he's always owned that middle of the park. I mean, he's only played 4 full 90 minutes so far this season, so I don't expect him to have a major part in this game, but he worries me because he absolutely owns whenever he plays. Absolutely owns. What I was going to say as well. No, that's it. That's all I got to say. But I must admit, I do fancy a Swindon win. I don't think they'll score. I think it'll be 0-0 half time, and I think we'll end up getting 2 goals in the last 15, 20 minutes. So it'll be 2-0 Swindon, the standard sort of performance like we did against Rovers, apart from not conceding that goal, obviously. But yeah, I think we'll win.
Ben?
We win. Yeah, I think we play a win. I think we play professionally. I think if we don't beat Oldham, there is something wrong, because Oldham are pants. Yeah.
Not this again. We had this last time. You all told me how shit Bradford were.
Yeah, but Oldham really are pants. They're like 3rd or 4th bottom, and they've been like a joke.
Yeah, so were Bradford, though.
So were Bradford.
Bradford are mid-table. Bradford are mid-table.
No, they weren't. They were 18th.
Were they 18th? I thought
Yeah,
they
they
were.
were.
Yeah,
Played
but
well
they
just now.
had the county ground as a leveller, to be fair. So
Sorry,
Look,
Ben, carry on.
Oldham have been rock bottom all season. You know, they've been struggling all season. They concede goals for fun. They don't score that many. The fans have turned against the owners. Be surprised they're losing. They don't run on the pitch again. I think we'll have a point to prove. I think we've got enough to create openings, and I think we'll win. I don't think we'll win by lots. I think, going on another McCurdy and someone else, 2-0, same as Ned. Both goals second half.
Before I hand over to Woody for his thoughts, Ben, I must apologise. I've just been looking through my notes of what we wanted to talk about tonight, and you had an announcement you wanted to make about the Fantasy Premier League as well, didn't you?
Did I? Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, come on, though. Yeah, no. I was reading out in the car on the way. We went bowling today with the family. And I was having a look at the fancy notes in the car. And, I was just saying, because Sarah's done quite well this week. And, she pointed out that she'd beaten all of us. She got about 92 points.
It doesn't count, apparently, if you have Salah as captain, according to Ned. So there we go.
Well, everyone's got Salah as captain. If you've not got Salah as captain now, there's something wrong.
You shit a fantasy league, isn't it? Second from bottom there.
Given that Sarah is a regular viewer and sometimes contributor, despite never actually being on camera, I'd like to give her a round of applause for beating all of us at Fantasy Premier League.
She does quite well, and she lets me know when we.
Well done for beating Kieran.
Let's Jack now as well.
Well done for beating Kieran, Sarah. Well done.
Yeah, it was actually a challenge to beat me, unlike the rest of them this week.
Yeah.
Let's carry on as we were then. Woody, what's your thoughts ahead of Oldham?
We'll win 1-0.
Just that.
Yeah, I don't really, if I'm honest, I don't really know enough about how Oldham have done this season, apart from hanging down that end of the table. But I'd like to think, I don't like to think, but I think they'll be a bit more, they'll probably be very defensive against us. I think it's going to be the first team that we come up against at home, as in a way, that are going to be very defensive. They're going to try and avoid defeat. So I think we're not very good at playing against a part burst at the moment. So I think we'll win, but it'll be a scrappy 1-0, I think.
Craig?
Yeah, pretty much what Woody just said there. It's Keith Curl. He's going to have him defend. He's a defensive-minded manager anyway, but especially at home, them not doing so well. They were under a transfer embargo, and recently that's become even more restrictive because they broke the rules again. So they are a club in turmoil, and logic would dictate that it should be an easy win for us, but I don't think it will be. I think we'll struggle to break them down. We'll get about, and Oldham will only have to look at us on against Bradford, 73% possession and only 5 shots on goal. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. I think we'll win 1-0, but it's going to be a long, hard grind that game, and it's not going to be pretty to watch, I don't think. Rich?
Yeah, so this is the second away game that I won't be at this season, and but yeah, no, I completely agree with Craig and Woody. I think we will win 1-0, but I think Oldham will try and shithouse it. They'll probably try and catch us out somehow or another. But I would like to think, given our away record, it would be just our luck to lose our first away game to a club that is in turmoil and almost at the bottom of the table. It'd just be a typical Swindon thing to do. However, though, I would like to think we will win. And I'd like to think that we'll probably win 1-0. Hopefully we win by more, but I just think it'll be that typical kind of game. And yeah, I agree with the lads. I think 1-0 is a fair result.
Kieran?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult game because they are a club in turmoil. They may as well just give us the game, but that would be like, I think they should just do that. But I think actually, I think that'd be easier option because I think going there and playing it, I think we'll draw. I think they're going to be similar to sort of like your Carlisles, Port Vales, Rochdales, where they shithouse it, but they're going to shithouse it at home, and they're going to be more defensive at home. Obviously, we're used to the teams that we've beaten have been quite attacking, and have come out and attacked us away from home that we've done well against, sort of like Forest Green, Suttons. So I think it's going to be sort of I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. But it would be typical Swindon to go there and lose to a club that have done nothing all season, probably going to get relegated. And they probably beat us 3-0 at home, but I don't think I can actually say that. So I think it'll be 1-1, and I think we'll come from behind to score, and I think it'll be Tyree Simpson with an absolute thundercunt.
I'm not sure if Christian's actually still with us or not. He's disappeared.
Is he wanking?
So we won't be able to get a prediction from him at the moment. So
whoa, down, Shet. Hang on. You turned my video off, mate.
No, you turned it off.
Dave's been staring at my ex-wife for fucking 10 minutes. How long did you piss?
He's wanking.
There was probably a reason your video got turned off.
You cannot start your video because the host has disabled it.
Oh, Steve's disabled you.
Oh, 5B.
There you go.
Bloke takes a piss
You'll
in
be
public
hearing.
and
You'll be
saving
hearing
his
from his
video.
agent. You'll be hearing from his agent. 5B.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you've got your name on the top.
For 10 minutes. Oldham. I got a lot of time for Oldham. One of the first games I went to was at Oldham in 1989. It was Oldham against Blackburn on the old plastic pitch. I think Oldham won 4-2 and I stood behind the goal.
We want a game prediction, not your life story.
I've got a lot of time for Oldham.
No, he started again.
Again.
That's just the dementia kicking in.
Right, do you want to stand here and talk about fucking Tyrese bloody Simpson and all this?
Sorry, Christian, you carry on. You enjoy yourself.
Duncan Shearer and decent players. Yeah, it's they're like us really. I think they're a similar sized club to us. They've been in the Premier League longer than we were. They often get discounted. People don't talk about them when they talk about the likes of Plymouth, Portsmouth, and Bradford, who also sit in the lower divisions. I hope they sort themselves out because they've had some brilliant players over the years, haven't they? Mm-hmm. The Andy Riches, Dennis Irwins, Roger Palmer,
Gunnar Hull.
Huh?
Gunnar Hull. Do you remember him in the early 90s?
Gunnar Hull, yeah.
Norwegian.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Beg your pardon. Yeah, Redfern,
David
Sleepy. Jeffrey.
They've had some fantastic players over the years. Sorry, do you want to know what I think the score will be?
No, you carry on. We're all enjoying listening to you, Christian.
All right, John Hallworth wasn't a bad goalkeeper. Earl Barrett.
Tell us we're going to lose 2-1. Be done with it.
Get the theme to our tune in the background.
Earl Barrett. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
A 2-2 draw to round us off.
I can just see one of Craig's videos coming out after this.
Well, this is gold for material. This has been and the last episode as well.
Well, gentlemen, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure spending the last hour or so in your company, even if it's not always the most professional of shows. It is certainly the most fun podcast or vlog or whatever you want to describe it as that I have the pleasure of being a part of. So thank you very much. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. And until next time, goodbye.
5 minutes.